Hey there, I'm Andy. I'm a self-taught software developer, and in this video, I'm going to cover the top 3 programming languages to learn in 2019. This seems to be a huge question for people who are just starting out, who are brand new to software development. They're learning how to code, and they're like, what's the best programming language I should focus on and learn from the beginning? And there are definitely some options out there that are better than others. Some that are easier to get set up with, some that have better support in terms of the community, the people online. They're going to help you answer your questions. So I'm going to cover the top 3 that I've found from people who I've worked with in terms of who I've mentored, but also in my own experience of learning to code as a self-taught software developer. Now, by the way, before I get into things, if you're new here to this channel, I'm Andy Sterkowitz, and I help people get their careers started in software development and programming. So if you're looking to learn how to code, if you're looking to land your first job doing something meaningful and creative as a software developer, in a career as a software developer, then I recommend subscribing below, but also make sure to hit the bell icon so you get notifications anytime that I put out a new video. So without any further ado, let's dive into the top 3 programming languages to learn for 2019 for beginners. So let's actually start with the 3rd programming language on my list, and that is C#. And I love recommending C# to people who are just starting out for a couple of reasons. Number one is it's fairly straightforward to set up on your own computer. And any programming language that you're going to consider needs to be easy to set up or get working with immediately, right? Like you don't want to spend days trying to figure things out. I assume that not everyone comes from a tech savvy background. So just installing a programming language on your machine, on your local computer, shouldn't be a headache for you. You want to just get up and running quickly. You want to start programming quickly. You want to start writing code quickly. So if you're messing around with installing a programming language to begin with, then you're going to be in trouble and you're going to be wasting a lot of time. So C# is, again, fairly straightforward to get set up and running. The other reason I recommend C# generally to people is for 2 main reasons. One is that the syntax is actually fairly readable for someone coming from a non-programming background. While no programming language is going to be completely natural to you if you're not used to working with programming languages, I've seen pretty consistent feedback that C# actually is a pretty straightforward in terms of the syntax. So it's easy to sort of look at code, and just by, even if you didn't know the language that well, you can kind of pick up what's going on. And really the last thing I'd say, it's part of the C family of programming languages, which includes C, C++, Objective-C, JavaScript, even Java, PHP. There's a bunch of different programming languages that fit in the C family of languages. So what's nice about learning C# is that there is a lot of translation into other things, especially Java, by the way. Java is very, very similar in so many regards to C#. They're not the same thing. It will help to translate some of those skills over to if you're going to decide later on to learn in a C family of language. So C# is highly recommended, but that's 3rd on my list. All right, and let's go to the number 2 programming language on my list, and that is Python. And look, Python is easily one of the most popular languages. It's either number 1 or number 2 in most people's lists. And I'd say the main reason for that is what I've seen from some of the feedback that I've gotten from people who I've worked with and just from people generally who I've talked to, is that the syntax for Python, so how the code is written, how it reads, is by far the easiest amongst all the programming languages. So if you're coming from, again, a non-technical background, being able to just look at code, read it, and kind of get like a sense for things of like, okay, I'm pretty sure I get what this code is doing, Python has most programming languages beat. And that's a definitely important reason why you're going to want to pick a first programming language, but that's just one of a couple different reasons. I think the best part about Python as well, because it's a burgeoning and easy language to begin with, is there's a big community of people out there on the internet who are answering questions about things, who are helping people. So you definitely want to consider that as well, as there's a lot of answers that you can find online, which not every programming language offers. And really the last aspect of Python that I think is going to be very helpful if you're looking to get into Python development, or if you just want to learn it as your first language, is that Python comes with a standard library, which is sort of like saying it comes with a lot of built-in utilities or functionality that you can use right out of the box, right? So I've actually heard this term used with Python, is batteries are included, right? So for example, there's a million different things you can do with the standard Python library, but say you want to do some math functions, maybe you want to work with the file system, maybe you want to send HTTP requests. there is built-in functionality in Python for that through the standard library. So if you don't want to create your own functionality for all those things I mentioned, again, Python can come up with that for you. It can give it to you using the standard library. So Python's definitely a great choice. I put it number 2 on my list for a few different reasons, but let's move to my top programming language to learn for 2019, and that is JavaScript. Now, people always ask me all the time, why do you recommend JavaScript? Python's the best. Well, here's the reason why I recommend JavaScript over all other programming languages. Because if you are viewing this video right now through a Chrome browser, or if you have a Chrome browser available to you on desktop, you can literally start writing JavaScript code right now using the Chrome DevTools. And I love the fact that JavaScript is so easy to get up and running for almost anybody. So you don't have to have any tech background. You don't have to install JavaScript on your computer. You do have to install a browser, obviously. And so that's one of the main reasons why I like it so much. It's just so easy to get up and running. And look, it may seem like a small thing, like, oh, getting a programming language up and running, why is that important? But it is, because if you're not coming from a tech background, these things might intimidate you to the point where you're not going to get started. So that's my big reason why. The second reason why I like it so much is because JavaScript is used in so many places. Right now, currently, it's being used in so many places. You can use it in creating desktop applications, mobile applications, obviously dynamic websites, which you see a lot of, and that's just using regular old JavaScript, or you can use a library such as jQuery or a front-end framework such as Angular, Vue, React. You can also use it in a database. There's so many different uses for it. So the reason I like this is because you can literally, as a beginner, make a lot of progress, visible progress, making websites, making applications. Whatever it is, you can do quite a bit of things. And I think that making progress when you're new is so important. It's not that you can't do that with Python. It's not that you can't do that with C#, but it's just so darn easy to do it with JavaScript that's one of the reasons why I recommend it. Now, the last reason I really recommend JavaScript is maybe similar to before. It's in the C family of programming languages. So again, Objective-C, C#, Java, yada, yada, right? So introduction to JavaScript will help you to learn some other languages as well. It's not like if you just learn JavaScript, it won't apply anywhere else. So keep that in mind. Now, I will also say something about JavaScript as well. And there are definitely quirks to every programming language, things that are going to be drawbacks. But JavaScript can also be one of the most frustrating languages to learn. Because with JavaScript, as any JavaScript developer will tell you, there are some quirks to the language that may, in the beginning, be very difficult to kind of overcome. There's just a lot of different things that can be confusing. They're not straightforward. They're not how you may think of programming languages. And even more than that, it plays sort of loose with some typical programming rules. For example, it is a loosely typed language, and that can lead to a lot of problems if you're not following best standards for how to write JavaScript. So you're gonna find that JavaScript will frustrate the hell out of you once you move to another programming language that's a little more strongly typed. But again, I highly recommend it. I think JavaScript is the best way to go for your first programming language. But honestly, you're not gonna go wrong if you pick any of these 3. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Go ahead and leave a like and make sure to subscribe below. By the way, if you need help with this, if you're looking to learn how to code and get a career started in something that you're actually passionate about, and you're looking for someone to give you guidance, give you a systematic approach to handling everything from knowing what to learn, knowing what applications you should be building on your portfolio, all the way down to how to get that first job in the industry and break into it, then I'm going to leave a link in the description below to book a call with me to inquire about the mastermind program that I'm running. Now, during that call, I'm going to do a few things. First of all, I'm going to talk really about what's holding you back from getting your career started. What's your biggest trouble areas? Also going to talk about where you want to take your careers, because that's very important to know as well. And by then you'll have a lot of clarity about what's going on, but also I'll have a good sense for whether the mastermind program is even a good fit. If it is, I'll tell you more about it, tell you about how you can get started. But either way, I want to make sure that you get a lot of clarity about where you're going. If you have no interest in the mastermind program, awesome, no problem at all. Either way, I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you got a lot out of it. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Take care and peace out, guys. Have a good one.